Romero hitting .439 on the season. A team-high 16 home runs, a team-high 48 RBIs. Cyclones have done a decent job against her in this series. She is a very talented player. But you look up and down that Oklahoma lineup, and yep, of the 9 hitters to come to the plate today, 8 of them are hitting above 300. Here is the delivery from Shawzik to get it started, and she gets it started with a strike.
And the Cyclones have done a great job at holding off the Oklahoma offense for as long as they can, so that'll be another key to victory today, is trying to maintain what the Sooners put forth.
And certainly throwing strikes helps, and that's what Shawzik is doing. She's out in front 0-2 on Romero. This Oklahoma team leads the nation, averaging 8 runs a game, and this series has been a good example of it. They're also the best hitting team batting average-wise in the nation, and the best defensive team in the nation. Romero to the right side, handled by Simpson. She fires onto Wolbert for the first out of the game. Nicely done by Casey Simpson. 1 away.
And fans, a reminder that if you catch or retrieve
Another look.
a foul ball here this afternoon, please run it down to the marketing table.
Romero knew that she was not going to be able to beat it out. Simpson handled it cleanly at first. So here's Folly of You. Foul ball out of play. View was on base pretty consistently in that doubleheader. Here's the season stats on Tatum Shawzik. Sophomore out of Bondurant, Iowa. At Bondurant Farrar High School. A view to center field. Nearad runs over and makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. Well, I like it, Mary. This is a good job by Shawzik. She's coming right after these good hitters in this Oklahoma lineup.
Yeah, and you see right there, great effort from Taylor Nearad at center. And the defense has had a hop under their step every hit that has been made, even if it's clearly going to be out in strong foul territory. They're eager to try and make a play and get something going.
That defense has definitely been on its toes and very good in this series. And you have to be. You have to do just about everything really, really well if you're going to beat Oklahoma. Only 2 teams have done it all season. Their last loss came in February. They come in today at 45-2 on the season. There's a line drive, base hit into the left field corner for Clifton. She's going to dig for 2. The throw in is late, and Kaylee Clifton has a 2-out double for OU.
That was a tough play for Hannah Carter to make. You'll see it bounces off the wall. Luckily, it goes right to her, but you have to have a strong arm to get that into second.
Especially with Clifton running well, which she does. And now Jocelyn Allo will bat. Allo hit 2 home runs in the doubleheader on Friday. She hit a grand slam to break open Game 1, and then came back with another home run in Game 2. You see on the season a .397 batting average, 12 home runs, and 42 RBIs. She takes outside for ball 1. So Shawzik retired the first 2 hitters, then gave up a double to Clifton. She goes to work against powerful right-hand hitter Jocelyn Allo. That pitch misses low, and the count's 2-0.
With there already being 2 outs, it actually is a good position for Shawzik to be in, despite the last hitter.
Yep, all she needs is 1 more to get out of this inning. But now she's behind 3-0 on Allo. And Grace Green is standing on deck. Iowa State dropped the first game of the series 8-3. Second game was a 9-2 Oklahoma win. Allo takes a strike called on the outside corner, and the count's 3-1.
Both teams are in completely opposite territory within their schedule. Iowa State had a long homestand, not consecutively, but this bottom portion of their season.
That pitch in the dirt. Now the runner moves up to third on the base on balls for Alo. So it's a walk and also a advancement on the pitch in the dirt by Clifton. And so now it's first and third with 2 outs, and Grace Green will stand in.
First baseman Grace Green.
And going back to what I was saying, the Cyclones have been home for pretty much what's going to be the rest of their schedule moving forward. And then on the other side of things, Oklahoma has been on the road for quite a while.
There's a first pitch strike to Grace Green.
But that doesn't mean much for Oklahoma because they're a great road team and they're able to show consistency, whether it be at home or in cold temperatures over here in Iowa.
Green takes a pitch outside and counts 1-1. Yeah, they just win, period, no matter where they play. Their last loss came against UCLA on February 22nd. An incredible win streak since then. And they have not just beaten opponents, but dominated them. That off-speed pitch is in for a strike. And the count is 1-2 now on Green. As you mentioned, Iowa State will make the short drive down to Des Moines to take on Drake midweek. And then it's back home for a 3-game series with Kansas to close out the regular season. Then both these teams will go to Oklahoma City for the Big 12 tournament. Shawzik delivers. And there's a called strike 3. Beautiful pitch by Tatum Shawzik. And it's a scoreless first inning for Oklahoma. We go to the bottom of the first. The outfield alignment for Oklahoma. Fale Aviu is in left. Mendez in center and Alo in right. Infield third to first, Romero, Lyons, Clifton, and Green. And Juarez, the starting pitcher, with Lindsey Elam behind the plate. Giselle Juarez, she goes by G. And she was very good in game 1 of this series. Hard-throwing left-hander. She starts Sammy Williams with a fastball that misses away. Mary, of all the pitchers, and there's the numbers on Juarez, of all the pitchers I've seen come into Cyclone Sports Complex this season, she throws the hardest. Here's a 1-0 delivery. Took a little bit off that pitch, and Williams was out in front and missed it. The count 1-1.
Yeah, she's the ace for Oklahoma in their pitching lineup, and that's on top of everything and beyond what Oklahoma has talent-wise.
Williams with a big cut and a miss, and the count's 1-2. They have, you're right, they have defense, they have a great offensive lineup, but they also have 3 tremendous pitchers. And we've seen all 3 in the series, and they've all been excellent. And so it's a loaded Oklahoma team for sure. It makes sense that they are the number 1 team in college softball. This is for Iowa State. The 5th game this season against teams ranked number 1 in the country. Strength of schedule? Yeah, I'd say so. The 1-2 delivery to Sammy Williams. Fought it off. So when you play softball at Iowa State, you're going to get the opportunity to play against the nation's very best. 5 games for the Cyclones this season. That's a school record against teams ranked number 1 nationally. Williams was fooled on an off-speed pitch. It's a strikeout for Juarez. 1 up, 1 down for Iowa State.
There's always room for improvement. I mean, moving forward, you kind of see what Juarez is going to be putting up, and it'll help the batters play a little bit more disciplined if need be. Samuel Williams, a great job there to kind of test the waters.
Near at a swing and a miss for strike 1. Yeah, the Cyclones did a little bit better second time through the lineup against Juarez the other day than they did the first time through, but she's really talented. Left-hander delivers the 0-1. And Nearad fouls it off. Taylor's had a good series. She showed you that 2-run homer she hit. She made a terrific catch out in center field in Game 2 of the doubleheader the other day. Having a very nice season defensively and offensively. Taylor Nearad. The 0-2 is taken in the dirt.
Yeah, Nearad has a lot of grit, and she's fun to watch because you're pretty confident that you're going to see some type of production from her.
Swings the bat well, plays a terrific center field. They play her to pull a little bit. The 1-2 delivery coming here. She was out in front and missed it. 2 up, 2 down, both via the strikeout for Juarez. Now she'll face Kaylee Bosworth.
Well, the Cyclones had strong pitching to start off the top of the first, and now the Cyclones are facing even tougher pitching.
Yeah, there's
It's kind of the name of the game. The Cyclones do what they need to do to be competitive, but then OU just is slightly more consistent and stronger.
So Bosworth will bat with the bases empty. Scoreless game here in the first. Game 3 of our series. And we're glad you could join us today on Cyclones.tv. John Walters along with Mary Rominger. Kaylee Bosworth, the hitter. And an 0-1 coming from Juarez. Up high for a ball. 1-1 the count. Iowa State came into this game at 28-20 on the season. Just a couple wins shy of that 30 mark. There's a swing and a miss by Bosworth. They'll get their opportunities. Certainly today would be terrific to knock off the nation's #1 ranked team, but at Drake midweek and then back home Kansas for 3 next weekend. Bosworth chokes up on the bat, takes a called ball, and the count is 2-2. Kaylee Bosworth hitting .324 on the season. She leads the Cyclones with 32 RBIs. She has 8 home runs. Popped it up high in the air. Third baseman Romero comes in to take it. And so it's a 1-2-3 inning for Iowa State. We'll go to the top of the second. No score in Ames.
Sooners up now with number 17, designated
Shay
pitcher
Knighton leads it off for Oklahoma. Knighton hit 2 long home runs in game 1 of the doubleheader on Friday. She hit one straightaway center and then pulled one down the line. Neither one crawled over the wall. They made it over by plenty. And Knighton takes inside for ball 1. Mary, this Oklahoma lineup, when you look all the way up and down, power, extraordinary power, and batting average is just through the roof. Knighton in .358. Checks her swing on that one. The count's 1-1.
Yeah, it's not a top-heavy batting order by
Right.
any means. It's the talent is spread out throughout. In fact, you might see the best hitter amidst the lineup. So there's really not a time where Shawzik is going to get a break from the powerful offense, but she knows what to expect, and so far she's showing some promise, especially in some conditions that maybe can be more beneficial in her favor.
2-1 the count on Knighton. Yeah, this lineup for Oklahoma is top heavy, middle heavy, and bottom heavy. It's heavy all the way through. It's a really talented group. They average 8 runs a game. 3-1 the count on Knighton. And Shawzik will have to challenge her here. She does, and Knighton pulls it foul. So the count goes full at 3-2.
You know what's great about having teams that are ranked in notable fashion come where we can see them? It's kind of it being solidified that they are the #1 team for a reason. You know, sometimes you'll have highly ranked teams that maybe don't match what you would describe as so. So it's reassuring to know that we've been able to see quite the talent in Oklahoma.
There's no doubt they are every bit the part of what you would expect. And a walk for Knighton. So runner aboard, and now Nicole Mendez will bat. And the Cyclones will see if they can add to their Big 12 leading number of double plays turned on the season. That's up to 23 now this season. There's a good bunt, though. Handled, and Shaben's throw is dropped by Simpson at first base covering. And so now it's first and second for Oklahoma. Well, a good bunt. Shaben had to rush the throw. Should have gotten her, though. But Simpson just couldn't hang on over there. So now, first and second for the dangerous Lindsey Elam, who hit 2 home runs in the doubleheader on Friday.
But luckily, despite the error over on first, Sally Wolpert was in a good position to limit anything else from happening.
Runners first and second, nobody out. Elam, powerful right-hand hitter. There's the numbers on the season, but 2 of those home runs came on Friday here. She shows bunt as well, but takes outside for a ball. I wouldn't be surprised to see them bunt here and try to get those 2 runners into scoring position. Wolpert, the first baseman, is in close. So is third baseman Logan Shaben. Middle infielders are back, looking to turn 2 on a ground ball. Shawzik delivers the 1-0. Elam bunted it foul, so the count's now 1-1. Oklahoma threatening here in the second. Oklahoma came in today at 45-2, 14-0 in the Big 12. And they've won 39 consecutive Big 12 conference games. There is the bunt. Wolpert will throw it on to Simpson. And so the runners advance on the sacrifice bunt. It goes 3-4 on the out. Runners move up. And it'll be second and third for Grace Lyons. So they got accomplished what they wanted to with those 2 bunts. Now the defense will discuss things along with Iowa State head coach Jamie Pinkerton.
You know, that's exactly what Oklahoma drew up, but great defensive effort there by Wolpert to Simpson. I mean, Wolpert got a hop on that one, got inside quickly and threw it to Simpson. So overall, I mean, you have to respond well to those textbook plays, and Iowa State did just that.
You'll take the out, that's for sure. But now the discussion is, do we try to come home on a ground ball and try to get that runner at the plate in a scoreless game here in the second inning? Or do we just sacrifice the run to try to get another out on a ground ball and play the infielders deep? I think Iowa State generally in these situations plays in and does try to cut down that runner at the plate. And the hitter will be Grace Lyons. Corner infielders are in, and the middle infielders are in compared to where they normally are. So they're going to try to come home if they can get a ground ball. First pitch, though, high and away for ball 1. It's Grace Lyons, then the top of the order for Oklahoma. They've got 2 runners aboard, threatening here in the second inning. Tatum Shawzik has allowed just 1 hit. That came in the first. But here in the second inning, a walk and then an error allowed a couple of runners now to move into scoring position after a sacrifice bunt. And the count's 2-0 on Grace Lyons. Shawzik challenges her. A base hit into left. Carter up with it. Hits the cutoff player. Nicely done, but the run does score. So an RBI single for Grace Lyons. And Oklahoma strikes first. Knighton able to score. But Carter did a nice job keeping it to just 1 run.
It's incredible how Oklahoma is able to execute plays like that and inch their batters in.
Yep, they can beat you with small ball or big ball. They can hit the home runs. They can do the little things. And here is Sydney Romero. And she bunts. And that's handled by Shaben, who gets the out, but a run scores. So a squeeze bunt brings home the run. Sydney Romero gets the RBI. She was retired 5-4, but gets Mendez home to make it a 2-0 game. And then moving on to second is Grace Lyons. So with the wind blowing in today, Oklahoma may be playing for 1 run at a time, a little bit more than they did the other day when they hit, I think it was 6 home runs in that doubleheader. And now the hitter is Fale Aviu. First pitch strike from Shawzik. 2-0 Oklahoma here in the second. Romero with a good squeeze bunt to bring home another run. Now the 0-1 to Aviu. She takes the pitch outside, the count 1-1.
And Iowa State is doing a good job defensively. I would say they look really strong today, but when you're playing a great team, you have to play at your best. And that one walk, that one error is that detrimental to a team like Oklahoma.
Aviu hits one down the right field line and deep, and it is gone. Fale Aviu hits a 2-run homer. So they played small ball to start the inning, but then they play long ball to add to it. A 2-run homer for Fale Aviu, and she crushed it.
I mean, exactly that, John. You see how far that ball went, almost reaching where the black gate was. You were able to see on the replay there, and that is some powerful hitting, especially in today's conditions. There was no wind to help that one carry. That was pure strength, just as you alluded to before, and how powerful Fale is in her hitting.
So now it's a 4-0 Oklahoma lead, and the batter is Kaylee Clifton, who doubled in her first at bat. And she takes a first pitch ball from Tatum Shawzik. So 4-0 Sooners here in the second inning. Most of the runs unearned. Shawzik delivers. This is powered into left field. High, towering shot down the line, and gone. It's a fair ball. And a home run back-to-back for Oklahoma. Kaylee Clifton connects this time.
Yeah, that was close to the foul pole, but great placement, and once again, powerful hitting. You knew it was going to make the distance, but whether or not it was going to stay inside or outside of that foul pole was the question, and it did so.
13th home run of the season for Kaylee Clifton. Back-to-back home runs for Oklahoma, and that's going to do it for Tatum Shawzik. We're going to see Shannon Mortimer come in to pitch for Iowa State. Trainer out to check on her. And this is Coach Jamie Pinkerton. He says, "Do you want to come out?" She says, "No." So she will stay in. The count is 1-0 on Jocelyn Allo, the 8th hitter of the inning for Oklahoma. They have 5 on the board here. Mortimer facing her first hitter of the day. Misses inside, and the count's 2-0. Home plate umpire today is Cody Little. Christopher Thomas is the umpire at first, and Steve McCown over at third. Jocelyn Allo takes ball 3, 3-0 the count now. Allo walked in her first at bat. The 3-0 for Mortimer. Ball 4. Second walk of the day for Allo. And with 2 outs, Grace Green will bat. She'll be the 9th hitter of the inning for Oklahoma. A leadoff walk for Shane Knight, then an error on the bunt where Simpson couldn't hang on at first base on the throw from Shaban. Then a successful sacrifice followed by an RBI single, another bunt to bring home 1 run, and then back-to-back homers to score the next 3. So a 5-run inning for Oklahoma. The count 0-1 now on Grace Green. The 0-1, and now a throw stealing in Bosworth. They tested that hand, and she made a great throw to get the runner stealing. So Allo trying to steal. She's caught by Bosworth, and that ends the inning. But Oklahoma scores 5. We go to the bottom of the second, 5-0 OU. 5-run inning for Oklahoma. We go to the bottom half, and leading it off for Iowa State is Sally Wolpert. As they try to get a run or 2 back against the terrific left-hander Juarez. First pitch fouled away. good crowd today, but many of them were smart enough to bring blankets and coats. It's chilly. A lot of Oklahoma fans made the trip here to Ames. There's a pitch away for a ball, 1-1 the count.
Which is always nice because you want to follow and support the number one team in the country, but you're also traveling to temperatures that are much more frigid, and I was experiencing some winter temperatures.
Yeah, certainly not a typical spring day here, late April day, but count of 1-2. We at least had some decent weather on Friday for the doubleheader, and they were smart to play two then, because yesterday was miserable. A 1-2 delivery. Wolpert is out in front, and that's the third strikeout for Juarez. 1 up, 1 down for Iowa State here in the second.
And now we'll be seeing Taylon Lewis up at bat.
Now batting for their team, designated player Taylon Lewis.
Taylon out of Burlington, Wisconsin, a redshirt sophomore. Good numbers on the season with that .320 batting average. She takes strike one. Line drive hitter. Stands in from the right side. She probably had as good of at bats against Juarez as any Cyclone hitter did the other day. The 0-1. Lewis takes a strike on the outside corner. 0-2 the count now. Juarez winds up and throws hard. And she just misses there, and the count's 1-2. There's not a lot of reaction time in softball to begin with. But when somebody throws as hard as Juarez, it can make it very difficult. The 1-2. Up high for a ball, 2-2. There you just have a split second to make up your mind. And that's it.
Especially when what makes Oklahoma so elite is there's not much similar pitching in the Big 12, so Iowa State doesn't get a chance to see that too often.
Fouled off by Lewis. And we've seen all three of the Oklahoma pitchers in this series look very, very good. Shannon Sale was good. Mariah Lopez was good on Friday. 2-2 the count here on Lewis. Fouled away. Stays 2-2.
Iowa State just in need of getting on base. No need to shoot for the stars and produce in that way. Just take steps. Take those first couple steps to try and generate some offense.
Lewis swings and misses for strike three. That's 4 strikeouts for Juarez in the first 5 hitters she's faced. She is looking dominant out there today, and she'll face Sydney Stites. Stites doubled and homered in game 1 of the series.
Sydney Stites.
She's trying to become the first base runner of the day for Iowa State. 2 away, nobody on. That pitch misses high. 1-0 the count. Five runs for Oklahoma in the top half of this inning, unearned. And they lead it 5-zip. Off-speed pitch fouled away by Stites, and the count's 1-1.
And the Cyclones having a really tough time combating what Juarez is throwing. She's diverse in her pitches, and they're all pretty on point each time.
1-1 the count. All three of these Oklahoma pitchers have great control. They hardly block anybody. A 1-1 here. That one in the dirt, 2-1. When you have the nation's best defense behind you, you have a great offense to support you, there's every reason to come right at the strike zone, and that's exactly what they do.
And on top of that, you have one of the most winningest coaches in the NCAA leading the team, Patty Gasso.
Fouled back by Stites, the count 2-2. Oklahoma, the national champions in 2016 and 17. looking like they're going to challenge for another title this year. 2-2 the count. Stites takes a fastball for strike 3. It is 3 up, 3 down, all on strikes for Iowa State, and now 5 strikeouts for Juarez. We will go to the third inning in Ames. It's 5-0 Oklahoma. From your state, Mary, and
Correct.
8 on the Oklahoma roster, 7 Cyclones from California.
Now we'll be
Ramos certainly one of them, and then it's too bad about Bosworth's hand. It was her throwing hand that got injured. She played through it for a while, but now Jamie Pinkerton not taking any chances.
And now we have Mortimer and Grace Green up to bat, the freshman. 418 batting average. The first pitch was out for a ball. So 1-0 is the count. Just getting things started here at the top of the third. And that ball deflected off of Ramos's glove and will be ball number 2.
It is amazing the amount of talented players that come from the state of California, and it's not just Iowa State and Oklahoma. You can look up and down the rosters of virtually any Big 12 team, and you're going to see some players from California.
The pitch is thrown and it's fouled back, hits the net. 2-1 is the count.
Now, you're from out there. Is it just a very popular sport? A lot of kids like to play softball out there. I mean, it's just the amount of talent that comes from that area is incredible.
Yeah, I remember throughout high school, our softball team and baseball team was always competitive within the CIF, which was our league. And that ball is hit, and it's caught by Sydney Stites.
That is a tremendous play.
Wow, she dove for it, and in fact, she was backwards. It was almost hard for me to see whether it stayed in her gloves, but it did. You'll see the replay here, John.
Well, she got the wrong jump on it. She kind of turned the wrong way, then spun back and recovered with a snow cone catch, sliding on the warning track. That's as good as you're going to see. Terrific play from Sydney Stites to get the first out of the inning.
And that early out is so crucial here. We're seeing Knighton up to bat. The pitch is thrown, and that'll be a ball. Or a strike, excuse me.
Well, Stites has made, in the handful of games we've seen here at Cyclone Sports Complex, some really good defensive plays. She made a diving catch about a week ago and made another great catch there.
Mortimer to Knighton. That'll hit the ground and it'll be ball.
The most impressive part about it, Mary, is that Stites a year ago was playing primarily second base. Now she makes the adjustment to right field, and she's done a really nice job with it.
1-1 is the count, 1 out. Pitch is thrown, and a nice hit there over to Logan Shaben, but she's not able to get a good handle on it, and Knighton will be safe at first.
Hard hit. Shaben just kind of had it eat her up. She couldn't quite come up with the handle on it, and not sure if they'll rule out a hit or an error, but either way, Knighton is aboard at first. And we're going to see a pinch runner, Aubrey LaValle, at first base now for Oklahoma.
And now up to bat is Mendez for Oklahoma.
Pitch runner for the Sooners, number
Mendez,
99, Audrey
with
LaValle.
341 batting average, a junior.
And now batting
Bats
for the
left,
Sooners,
throws
number 11,
left.
center fielder,
They did
Nicole
rule that an
Mendez.
error on Logan Shaben.
That'll be error number 2 for the Cyclones. The first one being crucial. The pitch is thrown by Mortimer. It'll be outside for ball number 1.
Well, we'll see if LaValle tests the arm of Michaela Ramos. Oklahoma tried to run earlier with Allo, but she was thrown out by Bosworth.
So 1 out on the board, 1 runner on first. And the pitch is thrown. It goes through the glove of Sally Wolpert, and LaValle gets all the way to third, and she'll be safe.
Well, Stites made a really strong throw. It was just off the mark. If that throw was on target, they would have easily gotten the base runner, because this is a very powerful right arm from Stites. They would have gotten her at third, but the throw a little bit off the line, and Shaben had to go make sure to track it down. And in doing so, the runner moves up. So base hit for Mendez, and she moves to second on the play.
So runner on third now, runner on second, only one out. And you saw at the top of the second, this is a position where Iowa State found it hard to get out of. And that's why you're seeing Mortimer in the game this early on. Mortimer has that talent, though, to combat what Oklahoma has. She's a young pitcher, but we've seen her throughout this year put up some really memorable performances. So runners on first and second, one out. Pitch is thrown. We have Elam up to bat. That one will be a strike.
Infield in for Iowa State. Their idea is to try to get that lead runner at the plate again if they can make a throw home.
Lindsey Elam. The pitch is thrown, and she gets something on it, but it will bounce outside of that foul line.
Fortunate for the Cyclones, they had the infield in, so it got over Logan Shaben's head. Otherwise, it might have been a line out. But drifted just foul. It's now 0-2. Mortimer out in front of the count. See if she can get a very talented hitter in Lindsey Elam.
Count is 0-2, one out. Mortimer winds up, delivers the pitch, and it's hit on, but right over to Logan Shaben. She throws it to first, and it's a solid out caught by Sally Wolpert.
That's a great decision by Logan Shaben after she bobbled the ball. The intention was to come home, but there's no margin for error. So if you bobble it for just a second, you got to go get the out at first. She did just that. The run scores, but you'll sacrifice that run to make sure to get that out. It's a two-way.
6-0 now. The Sooners ahead of the Cyclones. 2 outs. Runner on third. Grace Lyons up to bat. She gets something on it. Goes right to Shaben again, but she has to rely on Sammy Williams to make the throw. A little late, and Lyons will be safe at first.
Now, Logan Shaben has had some hot shots coming her way in this inning. There's another. And it gobbled her up, and then Williams tried to make the play, but no chance. The runner scores, so an RBI for Lyons.
Conversation at the pitching circle.
It's 7-0 Oklahoma now.
In that situation, Logan Shaben at least was able to get in front of the ball and stop its momentum for Sammy Williams to try and make the play, but a tough play there, and on consecutive terms for Shaben.
They will rule it an error. They call it the hot corner for a reason. That ball comes in there. It is not a lot of time. It's strictly a reflexes position at third base.
And that one is caught by Logan Shaben. She throws it to Wolpert, and that'll be the third out of the inning. Great effort there by Logan Shaben. We will be back with the bottom of the third.
Not a simple position to play. You have no time to react. And now she will bat to lead off the bottom of the third for Iowa State.
Hopefully she'll be able to ride that momentum from a solid play to end a dangerous top of the third. Juarez. Shaben gets something on it, but it'll be handled by the Sooners defense.
Yeah, really quick instincts there from Grace Green. Not expecting bunt, but she came in, made a real quick, decisive play, and then the second baseman covering Clifton, she had to wait a moment for her to get there, but had plenty of time to make a good, strong throw and get her. It was a good bunt by Shaben, but not a bad idea.
Now the freshman Casey Simpson is up to bat. You see Juarez with 5 strikeouts on the day so far. Only 2 innings pitched. This will be her third, so that is kind of a tell-all of what Iowa State has seen from Juarez. She delivers the pitch, and it's swung on by Simpson. Strike number 2. 1 out.
Juarez came into this game with a 19-0 record and a 1.46 ERA.
Simpson swings, and it'll be strike number 3. So a quick strikeout for Juarez.
Her 6th of the day. And you look at her she's thrown 110 innings on the season coming into this game and had 150 strikeouts, so well more than a strikeout an inning, and certainly on that kind of pace again today.
2 early outs for Oklahoma against the Cyclones, which makes it tough for Iowa State to generate anything. But here's Hannah Carter.
Cyclones have yet to have a runner reach against Juarez today.
Hannah Carter, the junior, 7 RBIs on the season, averaging a 191 batting average. Juarez with the pitch, and it's high and outside, so that'll be ball number 2. And we'll see a little discussion between Elam and Juarez at the pitching circle.
Yep, two fastballs high and wide. And Elam out to remind her, hey, this is the number 9 hitter that's come right at her. No reason to start nibbling on that strike zone. Just throw strikes.
Pitch is delivered, and that'll be a strike. A solid pitch there by Juarez.
Carter tends to pull the ball most of the time when she makes contact. She's hit the ball well at times in this series.
She winds up, and Carter swings on it, and it'll be strike number 2.
Boy, a lot of movement on that pitch from Juarez. It started out right down the middle, but by the time Carter swung, it was off the plate. And Juarez gets not only great speed on her pitches, but also a ton of movement.
Count is 2-2. Pitch is delivered, and it's swung on, and it'll be fouled back behind the bleachers. So she fights off that one.
Yeah, good swing by Hannah.
The count will remain 2-2 with 2 outs. No runners on. The Cyclones down by 7 runs. She winds up, pitch is thrown, and that'll be ball number 3.
Good battle here by Hannah Carter. Just trying to figure out a way to get on board and get this offense going a little bit.
Pitch number 42 for Juarez. It's popped up in the air. Looks like Romero will try to get that, and she catches it.
That's
Great
a really
catch
good
there.
catch. Yeah.
An ability to track that one down by Romero. So that'll close out to the bottom of the 3rd, be back to the top of the 4th. Oklahoma up 7-0. Well, the inning is not over, and Hannah Carter finishing off her at-bat.
Yeah, I thought that Romero made a terrific catch, but they must have ruled that that ball was not caught cleanly. And on that foul ball by Carter, so the count stays at 3-2. I'll have to take another look at it. I'm not sure exactly why they ruled it the way they did.
And the pitch is thrown to Carter. It'll be fouled back behind her, so she's fighting this one off pretty strongly. 3-2, the count remains.
Here's another look. Now watch Romero. There's a lot of stuff going on. You got the on-deck hitter. You got that logo. Well, the home plate umpire ruled it out. I don't get it. There's Carter with a line drive.
And that'll be
Short.
cleanly caught, and that'll end the inning.
So, yeah, we'll go to the top half of the 4th. Casey Simpson.
So the last time we saw Mortimer today, the Sooners were able to put up 2 runs, but she still battled through what could have been a lot worse. So eager to see what the defense is able to showcase. And like you mentioned, John, Shera's in at second. The pitch is thrown. A solid pitch there for the first strike.
Folly of View hit a moonshot to right, a 2-run homer down that right field line in her last at bat.
Foley. The pitch is mishandled. Get bounced off the foot and handled by Ramos.
You see that batting style for a View. She has the 2 hands separated on the bat by an inch or 2. What sure didn't slow down her bat speed on that home run. You would think it would take away some of her power, but man, she showed that she's got plenty to spare with that long home run to right. was her 7th home run of the season.
That last pitch missed the top corner, so it'll be 2-1, no outs. The pitch is thrown and it's swung on and fouled back by Fale. The Sooners remain up on the Cyclones 7-0. The count is 2-2.
View obviously knows what she's doing. She's hitting .391 on the season.
Pitch is thrown and it's hit. And it looks like it'll go outside of the gate. Could have potentially been a catch on a foul ball by Hannah Carter, but
Good effort by Hannah. She didn't slow down at all until she ran out of room.
always a great effort there from Hannah Carter and getting a jump on it. And that one is swung on in a nearly diving catch, but not quite. Taylor Nearad always showing so much consistency at center field. Solid catch.
What range from Taylor Nearad. Look at how much ground she covers. And then makes a terrific catch, running full speed on the warning track. That is a really good. We have seen great defensive plays in the outfield from Sydney Stites, and now Taylor Nearad. Nicely done.
And that's a great way to get the powerful hitter in Fale off of the plate. So next we will see Clifton. The pitch is thrown, and that'll be outside for the first ball.
Clifton also homered in her last at bat, and she doubled the first time through, so she's having a big day, 2 for 2. Another tremendous hitter, hitting .400 on the season now.
29th pitch is thrown, hits the ground. Ball number 2. 2-0 is the count, 1 out. We have a freshman in Mortimer and a senior in Clifton at bat. She winds up, the pitch is thrown. It'll be too high. That'll be ball number 3. So we're going to see a conversation here amongst Ramos and Mortimer. Try and limit any walk. Mortimer winds up, the pitch is thrown, and it'll be the 4th ball, so a forced walk there by Mortimer. And next we will be seeing Jocelyn Allo.
Didn't miss by much on that 3-0 pitch. Clifton is on base for the 3rd time today. Now Allo, who she's walked twice today, has had a couple of long home runs in this series.
Great discipline there from Clifton to see, as you mentioned, John, it was just barely outside for that ball territory, and she held her bat back. First pitch is thrown, that'll be a strike. 0-1 is the count, 1 out. Clifton on first. The sophomore Allo. The pitches hit and fouled back.
So now Mortimer out in front, 0-2, and you try to maybe throw something just off the plate. Got that hitter up there trying to protect the plate and not strike out, but maybe if you throw something that tails away, she can't quite reach it, you're able to get a strikeout. That would be big here with 1 away.
The wind is picking up. The pitch is thrown and it's hit on. Looks like it'll foul over by left field.
And she did throw it just off the plate, but Allo, with good plate coverage, was able to reach out and just foul it away. See if Mortimer comes right back, goes outside with this pitch again.
Mortimer ahead in the count, 0-2, 1 runner on, 1 out. The pitch is thrown, and that'll be hit over to Sydney Stites. And she has to make a long throw over to third to Shaben to try and limit a run in, and she does. So the runner at first, and Clifton advances to third, and Allo gets to first.
Yeah, runners at the corners. Good piece of hitting by Jocelyn Allo. And Oklahoma threatening once again, as they do so often. It is just really hard to retire this lineup. I mean, You look at the batting averages coming into this game for the Oklahoma hitters. Sidney Romero, 439. Fale of You, 391. Kaylee Clifton, 395. Jocelyn Allo, 397. Grace Green, 418. Shay Knighton, 358. Nicole Mendez, 341. Lindsay Elam, 310. Those are the top 8 hitters in the Oklahoma lineup, all hitting well over 300 on the season. So there's just no place to hide with this lineup.
Well, up to bat now is Grace Green. Runners at the corners, 1 out. She swings on, it goes over Sammy Williams' head, over out to Hannah Carter, and that'll bring home Clifton. And Alla won't be able to advance any further, but she makes it to third.
Solid RBI base hit. Has hit it so hard that it was able to get to the fence even on a low line drive like that. Easily scoring was Clifton. This is a very dangerous Oklahoma hitting team. We just continue to see it. Now they're going to have a pinch hitter here, Audrey LaValle.
Pitch is thrown. Solid pitch there for the first strike. This is dangerous territory still for the Cyclones when you only have 1 out and runners continue to threaten in Oklahoma. The pitch is thrown. It'll be too high for the ball.
LaValle came in to run for Shay Knighton earlier in the game and stayed in the lineup.
Mortimer to LaValle. And that'll be another one that's outside for ball number 2. 2 and 1, 1 out. Runner on second, runner on third. Already a run scored in this inning. 8-0. Winds up, the pitch is thrown and got away from Michaela Ramos, but luckily for her, she got it quick enough, so no one was able to make any moves. In fact, no one would have really been able to, considering runners are on second and third.
Not a lot of room behind home plate before you get to the backstop in this ballpark, so it's hard to score from third on a wild pitch unless it kind of takes a weird bounce.
3 and 1, pitch is thrown. And she swings for strike 2.
A strikeout here would be huge, keeping those runners at second and third. Infield's in, trying to maybe cut down that lead runner at the plate. There is an 8-run rule in softball through 5 innings. Right now, Oklahoma's at an 8-run lead.
Mortimer delivers. A solid pitch there for the strikeout. So 2 outs. The runners remain at second, Grace Green, and Allo at third.
Good pitch by Mortimer. And a big moment there for her to get that second out.
Now we'll be seeing Nicole Mendez, the junior, hitting .341. Mortimer. And Mendez gets it over to left field, but it'll foul.
Got out in front of that one a little bit. She's reached on an air and singled, scored both times. Oklahoma trying to add a couple more runs here. They're already in front, 8-zip.
0-1, 2 outs. The pitch is thrown, and it's swung on, and it'll hop over Sally Wolpert's head to bring home Allo and Grace Green. So 2 runs scored on that ball that was hit to left field. Sydney Stites having to make the play.
Yeah, just a little chopper. But it bounced right over Wolpert's head. The infielders were in. And, well hit, you know. I always say hit them where they ain't. And that's what they did.
Well, Lindsay Elam is up, and she hits one right. And it hits Mortimer in the pitching circle.
I think it might have hit her glove. I hope so. She's going to shake it off, but yeah, she's indicating that she was able to knock it down with her glove. They're going to still come check on her, but I'm fairly certain that it just hit her glove, and that's what she's illustrating to the trainer. She says, "I'm good." I'll tell you what, you talk about reflexes. We talked about it for Logan Shaven at third base. When that ball's coming back to the circle, it's coming back in a hurry. And you have almost no time to react. It's almost a self-defense mechanism. Just get that glove up and try to knock that ball down. And that's what she did, an infield hit.
Especially as a pitcher, John, because the outfielders at least are in a stance where they're ready for anything. But as a pitcher, you're just going through the emotion of having thrown that pitch, and then you have to stand upright, and something's already happening at that point.
And that's why we see some pitchers wear the face mask. We saw Tatum Shawzak, who started this game for Iowa State. She wears a face mask when she pitches. And some do, some elect not to. I wouldn't be surprised at some point in college softball to see that become standard equipment for the pitcher to have to wear a face mask, because they are so close to that plate.
Well, we have Lindsay Elam on first base, Nicole Mendez on second base, and Grace Lyons up to bat. And the first pitch will be a ball. 1-0 is the count. 2 outs, 2 runners on. Mortimer, 46 pitches thrown thus far. She came in relief for... And that one is hit over by Logan Shaven, and she gets it, and she taps third base to close out the top of the third. We'll be back to the top of the fourth. Oklahoma up 10-0.
She has handled the cold weather just fine. Look at those numbers. 3 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, and she has not allowed a base runner. Talked to Brock Purdy recently about dealing with cold weather. He's from Arizona, too, and he said, I got used to it pretty quick. It wasn't really that big of a deal. He says when you're moving around, adjust pretty quickly. He handled it very well.
Being able to adapt to the weather is what makes those athletes stand out that are able to. So that's good stuff there. So we'll be seeing Sammy Williams to start things off here. The bottom of the fourth.
Speaking of that, Sammy from California, and she is putting together her 3rd consecutive great season for Iowa State. So the weather has certainly not affected her. Academic All-American as well.
Pitch is thrown, and she tries to bunt it over near the first base side, but it'll foul for strike number 2. 0-2 is the count.
Sammy came in today hitting .396 on the season. Having another tremendous year.
She swings, and that'll be strike number 3 for the strikeout.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts in the game now for Juarez, and she's gotten Williams twice. If you can strike out Sammy Williams twice, you're awfully good, and that's exactly what Juarez is.
In that early first out, it's a tough look for the Cyclones, not being able to get any offense generated. And here is Taylor Nearad. Taylor Nearad has been a spark for the Cyclones throughout this series.
She made a great catch in this game out in center field, covered a ton of ground, moving to her right.
0-1 pitches thrown, and Taylor will swing on it for the strike. 1-1 with 1 out.
Taylor played her high school softball at Solon High School.
Juarez to Nearad, and that one was high, but she swung on it, so it'll be strike number 2. 1-2 is the count. Some difference makers here. Like I mentioned before, 9 hits for the Sooners, none for the Cyclones, no errors for the Sooners, and 3 errors for the Cyclones, and another strikeout for Giselle Juarez.
And Bosworth's going to re-enter in bat.
Haley Bosworth, the senior catcher.
So they put Ramos in defensively for her, but she moved to the designated player position.
Juarez's 53rd pitch is thrown, and that'll foul over by the batting warm-up area.
Well, that was the best contact that a Cyclone hitter has had today. Kaylee Bosworth really ripped that ball, but just got out in front and ripped it foul. But a good swing for Kaylee, so showing no ill signs from that throwing hand injury earlier today.
Pitch is thrown to Bosworth, and it'll bounce over out of Elam's reach.
She does have a little tape on one of her fingers on that right hand. But that first swing, she got plenty of bat speed going.
The pitch is thrown. Solid pitch there for the second strike. 1-2 is the count, and 2 outs.
Flores has been absolutely dominant. She struck out 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, and 2 more here in the fourth.
And it's swung on, and Kaylee Bosworth will be struck out. And that'll conclude the bottom of the fourth. The Sooners remain up on the Cyclones 10-0, and we'll be back with the top of the fifth. Welcome back to the Cyclone Sports Complex. We will remain in a very Oklahoma-dominated game. They're up 10-0 over the Cyclones, and we have a couple scenarios here, John. If Iowa State is able to hold off any more offense from the Sooners here at the bottom of the fifth, they can try and generate some offense for the first time in this game to extend what would be a 7-inning game. Otherwise, like you mentioned before, it would end at 5.
Yeah, Cyclones' first task is to slow down this offense and then to score some runs, but they have not been able to do either. And right back to the top of the order in Sydney Romero.
That pitch is solid, hit the corner, and it'll be strike number 1. 1-1 for Mortimer. Mortimer with the pitch. It'll be too far outside. Ball 2. 2-1 is the count.
3 of these Oklahoma players were drafted in the National Pro Fast Pitch League draft. Romero, the hitter, was the 3rd overall pick in that draft.
That one swung on. It'll go to center. Taylor Nearad tries to make the play, and she does so cleanly for the first out.
Just really good instincts out there for Nearad. She always gets a good jump. Gave herself plenty of time to get under that one and make the play.
And an early first out is crucial for the Cyclones.
They're going to pinch hit Alexis Schultz. You know her, don't you?
Alexis Schultz from Los Alamitos, California, just like me, and first baseman for Iowa State, Sally Wolpert. So a little Los Alamitos reunion here.
A lot of Los Alamitos.
Mortimer with her 53rd pitch. And that's a solid pitch, but they'll miss it for the second ball. 2-0, 1 out. See Schultz's numbers there, 125 average on the season, 2 RBIs. It's been at bat 8 times. The pitch is thrown and she swings. And it doesn't quite get caught by Ramos, but it'll be strike number 1. 2-1, 1 out.
Well, speaking of the draft, congratulations to the Cyclones who were chosen in the NFL draft. David Montgomery and Akeem Butler.
The pitch is thrown, and that is pretty close to Alexa.
It hit her, yeah.
It did hit her, so she'll advance to first. You'll see the replay there. I think it must have got her left thigh, and that immediately advanced her.
And we're going to see another pinch hitter for OU, Elia Flores.
Elia Flores, the sophomore, averaging .245 on the season. The pitch is thrown. Will be outside, and Schultz threatening to steal. 1-0, 1 out. Runner on first. Mortimer to Flores. And that one was inside for the second ball. Little discussion here between Sammy Williams and Mortimer.
Well, I got to tell you, Mary, as a Bears fan, I am excited about David Montgomery going to Chicago. He's going to be a great fit there. The city is going to fall in love with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really cool for Akeem Butler was to be the very first guy selected on Saturday after not hearing his name Friday, which I'm sure was disappointing, but at least he didn't have to wait around long on Saturday. Very first name off the board on Friday in round 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the Arizona Cardinals, play for Cliff Kingsbury, and he'll get to play with Kyler Murray. And so, excited for both those guys.
Pitch is thrown, and that'll be a ball. So, 2 runners advance. Schultz will go to second, Flores to first. And we'll have a discussion here at the pitching circle with Mortimer.
Going to see another pinch hitter for Oklahoma, Reagan Rogers. So, Hetty Gasso using her bench, just as Iowa State has here in this third game of the series. I want to also mention a couple other Cyclone football players who signed free agent deals. Matthew Eaton with the Green Bay Packers and Brian Peavy with Arizona. He'll team up with Akeem Butler. So congratulations to those guys as well. Hopefully, they'll make the most of their opportunities. Well, let's see if we can get a ground ball, maybe turn 2 here.
Mortimer throws it, and that'll hit the corner for the first strike. 0-1, 1 out. 2 runners on. Reagan Rogers, the outfielder, senior from Blanchard, Oklahoma. And that'll have a solid hit over to center, and that'll hit the scoreboard, and it's out. Reagan Rogers with a powerful hit to center, and out of the reach of anyone to bring home 2 runners in addition to her.
Yeah, make it a 13-0 game. It is the 3rd home run of the day for Oklahoma, and none of them have just barely cleared the fence. They have all been rockets, and that one by Rogers, there was no doubt on that one. She crushed it to left center.
And another in a series of pitch hitters now.
And as you mentioned, Oklahoma using their bench and exercising that ability that they have, and it pays off there big time to just solidify this dominant lead even more.
Kylie Lundberg's going to pitch it here.
Kylie Lundberg, the senior from Lakewood, California. That one is hit over by Sally Wilper, and she catches it with ease.
Nice play by Sally to get that second out.
Exactly right. 2 outs here. 3 runs have been scored, but fighting for that 3rd out makes it easier, courtesy of that second out by Sally Wilpert.
So it's Audrey LaValle now.
And that first pitch is a ball. 1-0, 2 outs.
LaValle struck out her last time.
Pitch is thrown to LaValle. She gets something on it, and it'll bounce over to Sally Wilpert for her to tag her out, and that'll be out number 3.
Well, no, I think it was called a foul ball. So, yeah. So just a strike and 1-1 count.
My mistake there. So Sally Wilpert was able to get something on it, but it did bounce past that line.
Just tagged her just in case.
And she'll go back to the plate. The pitch is thrown. Strong pitch there, but just missed that corner, and it'll be 2-1. 2 outs, no runners on. Mortimer winds up to LaValle. Similar thing here. 3-1. 2 outs. Nice discipline at the plate by LaValle. See here for Mortimer, she has 1 strikeout. Has been pitching for 3 innings, and that ball will foul. 3-2. Full count here, 2 outs.
Lots of crooked numbers up on that scoreboard from Oklahoma. 5 runs second, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth, 3 more in the fifth. They have just produced and produced and produced today.
Mortimer throws it, and that'll be hit hard by LaValle, and it'll be out. A home run for LaValle.
4th home run of the day for Oklahoma. And another monster shot. Sydney Stites had no chance.
It cleared the fence by far and almost cleared the black fence that surrounds the Cyclone Sports Complex. So not able to get that 3rd out. It ends up being a home run. The Oklahoma Sooners extend their lead 14-0.
We're going to see another pinch hitter, Sammy Skelly, will hit for Nicole Mendez.
Sammy Skelly, the freshman from Lone Grove, Oklahoma.
Well, it goes to really show you that you mentioned it, Mary, the depth of this Oklahoma team. Bench players Reagan Rogers and Audrey LaValle with home runs here in this inning. They're not only good throughout their lineup 1 through 9, it extends right over to their bench. And on a day with the wind blowing in, 4 long home runs for Oklahoma.
Well, Mortimer is pushing through. She's a young talent. She starts this one off with a solid strike down the center.
Well, for Shandon and all these Cyclone pitchers, they're not going to face a better lineup than this one.
Pitch is thrown. And that'll be high. 1-1. 2 outs.
Speaking of good pitchers, we're going to see, in all likelihood, when Iowa State goes to Drake midweek, Nicole Newman, who's had a great season for Drake.
Solid pitch there by Mortimer for the 2nd strike, 1-2. 2 outs.
We have seen a dominant pitching performance today by G. Juarez of Oklahoma. She is not a lot of base runner and has struck out 9 through 4 innings. So, dominant performance by OU.
And that one swung on. Sammy Williams gets it, tries to get over to Sally Wolpert, and she does so just in time. So that'll close out the top of the 5th. The Sooners scored 4 for a 14-0 lead, and we will be back with the bottom of the 5th.
Well, all you can really do, Mary, is tip your hat to this Oklahoma team. I mean, they are just without a weakness. And they have shown it here in this series. And let's keep in mind, Iowa State had won 5 straight. You know, coming into the series, they were playing some great softball. And they still might be. But you're just getting eaten up by a really good team.
Exactly right. They had the win against UNI and then swept Baylor and then was able to pick up a huge victory in Omaha on Wednesday.
Yeah, that sweep at Baylor, the first time that Iowa State has ever gone on the road and swept a Big 12 opponent on the road.
Pitch is thrown, and that'll be the 1st strike.
And so that just gives you an indication of how much progress this Cyclone program is making under Jamie Pinkerton. But today gives you an idea of just how far they still have to go. I mean, you don't want to draw too many conclusions. But the bottom line is this is a 28-win Iowa State team. This is the 5th time this season that they've faced the number 1 team in the country, so their schedule is as strong as anybody's. And they'll come out of it just fine.
A solid pitch there to come back in the count. Full count here. Hanrahan.
Iowa State is headed to the Big 12 tournament for the 2nd consecutive year.
And that one's hit on by Hanrahan, and trying to catch it is Alexis Schultz playing left field.
Good effort. And not a bad swing from Hanrahan.
Full count remains. Bryn Hanrahan up at bat.
They were making sure Schultz was ready to go in left before they started play again.
Pitch is thrown, and that'll be the third strike.
10th strikeout of the day for Juarez. And the last 4 outs have all been recorded via the strikeout.
Michaela Ramos is up to bat now. Whereas to Ramos.
First plate appearance of the day for Michaela. She came in at catcher for Kaylee Bosworth.
0-1 is the count. 1 out. The windup and the pitch. That will be strike number 2. 0-2.
She's just a machine, and she doesn't get behind in the count hardly ever.
Pitch is thrown, and it'll be fouled back behind the plate.
You see where Juarez stands on the rubber. She gets to the very far edge with that left foot, probably even off the rubber if you want to be honest about it.
She winds up, pitch is thrown, and another strikeout for Giselle Juarez.
So that's 5 consecutive that she's retired on strikes, and she now has 11 strikeouts on the day.
And now we'll be seeing Kirsten Cottle, the senior from San Bernardino, California. So the Cyclones' last effort to try and get on base and get some offense generated. That'll be a strike.
Juarez looking for the 5-inning perfect game.
Juarez to Cottle. Strike number 2.
When you have to gear up for that fastball and it's coming in there, feels like a million miles an hour, and then she takes something off on the next, that makes it really hard. And that was a great changeup from Juarez.
Juarez to Cottle again, and she strikes out. So 14-0, Oklahoma dominates the Cyclones. Overall, a very strong performance from Oklahoma throughout the entirety of this series, John.
And a great performance by G. Juarez, a complete game, perfect game, striking out 12 in just 5 innings. That's hard to top. But their offense was every bit as good, and they continue to extend that long winning streak. They are looking every bit part of the #1 team in college softball.
Oklahoma is 44-2 now, and Iowa State 28-20. And that'll be it from us today. Join us next weekend as Kansas comes to town here on Cyclones.tv. Tom Crochelle and myself, Mary Rominger, will be on the call. And once again, Oklahoma with a dominant victory over the Cyclones, 14-0 today. That'll be it from us here at the Cyclone Sports Complex.